Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello, listeners. Welcome to Business Innovators Radio. This is your host, Constant Taylor. Today we have a very special guest on the show, and they're going to share some very exciting information with us in regards to taxes and universities. So, if you're looking to increase your effectiveness in the tax area, then you've come to the right place. Our special guest today is Steve Hoffman. Steve has been speaking professionally on this issue for 6 years, and he primarily speaks to universities regarding tax issues. He's based out of the Boston area, and he has 2 books. The first is called Taxation for Universities and Colleges, 6 Steps to a Successful Tax Compliance Program. And the second one is called Resources from the Tax Translator. Steve, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much, Constant. I appreciate it very much.
And we're glad that you were able to make it. Now, I'd like to start off the show by asking you if you could tell the listeners exactly what you do and how you help universities with their taxes.
Okay, exactly what I do is I help colleges and universities stay out of trouble with the Internal Revenue Service. And I do that by several different methods. I consult with them, I advise them, I make a lot of presentations to business and finance officer associations and also at individual schools. This is all based on my past experiences, 12 years as a tax manager at 3 different universities, and don't hold it against me, I'm a recovering IRS officer of 15 years as well. I can sit on both sides of the table when I talk to the universities, and I think that one area of uniqueness that has been told to me before is I'm known as the Tax Translator, because when I do present to these people and explain things to them, I do not use code sections or form numbers. I speak in everyday, easily understood English with real-life examples that they can relate to and put to work the next day. So it's not somebody simply reciting, Section 8495.2A3, which nobody has any knowledge of unless they sit down and read the code like I do and then translate that into something that people can see and use and see how it impacts them. I also advise them of upcoming proposed legislation changes. Tax law changes all the time. So I let them know what's coming up, how they have to prepare for that. Like if something's coming next year, they may have to start now capturing information for report purposes. So that's an overall view as I work with them on a basis either for an individual school or present and make presentations at various associations around the country. I have to go where the colleges and universities are located, so I do some travel all around the United States.
So what are the main issues that you typically come across when going through the university's tax issues, and how do you help them navigate through those common issues? There's
generally about 5 areas. I only speak about probably the 3 most important. The first one is called something that the general public is not aware of. It's called unrelated business income tax. So this is any revenue that a college receives unrelated to their educational purpose. And colleges and universities have several sources of revenue that are unrelated. They may rent out rooms for meetings, or they may have a cell phone tower that they receive rent from various cell phone companies. Just all kinds of different activities going on. They may have a basketball arena, various rock and roll shows or something like that. That's all income that's unrelated to their educational purpose. So unrelated business income tax is one. Universities and colleges also have another unique situation in that they have several foreign students, international students, U.S. citizens. And everything that we know and love about the U.S. tax code as U.S. citizens really does not apply to them, to the to the international students at all. So they have a code section within a code section, and everything is different. So colleges and universities, there's probably 700,000 internationals in the United States, and they all require special attention regarding their tax issues. And the third issue is, believe it or not, a sales tax, state sales tax. Colleges and universities are required to collect sales tax if they sell something. And I have actually found instances of colleges who say, well, my gosh, we're a tax-exempt organization. Why we don't have to collect sales tax? Well, in reality, they actually do. Independent contractors is another example. That's always a kind of a gray area within the Internal Revenue Service. It's largely undefined and very subjective. And colleges and universities do have a lot of independent contractors. A large college campus is the equivalent of a small city. There are colleges and universities around the United States, and they have 75,000 students. Consequently, they have police protection. I know of they have to offer police, and I know of one university that has a nuclear reactor on campus. They have their own heating, their own water, lots of things going on. So it's like a small city or just another organization in the corporate world. They face all of the same issues that a small city or a corporate organization does. Some universities have 35,000, 40,000 employees. They have airports, they have hotels. So they're in a bubble, and typically need to be more aware of their tax obligations. The small to mid-size colleges oftentimes do not have a designated tax manager position. Consequently, the tax duties or responsibilities for the university are dispersed in various departments, and it's usually a job that is assigned to somebody to do, and they may only do it once a year, and they're not aware of the tax law changes that happen during the year for them to only do their job once a year. For example, it might be somebody who prepares the Form W-2. They only do that once a year, and it might be another duty as assigned, or it might be somebody who prepares other tax forms. So they only think of tax as a once-a-year event, when in reality, tax occurs every day on campus. Just because, what I'm trying to bring the innovation to colleges and universities is for them to create a tax compliance program on their campuses. They have programs for building buildings. They have programs for enhancing the appearance of campus during campus visits. They have programs for facilities and programs for student retention. But, they really don't have a program. Nobody is viewing this from a higher level. And to ensure that things are done correctly and done timely. For instance, I will talk to many vice presidents of colleges and universities, and I will just ask them, how do you know that the tax deposits are made on time, or who signs the tax return, or was it filed timely? And sometimes they're quite shocked when the total outflow of money leaving the university to go pay their combined tax bill at the federal, state, or local level might be as much as 15% of their total budget. So they have a $100 million total budget. It's really $15 million, which is unobserved, really. There's very few controls or processes or procedures in place. So many of them seem to think that it happens auto-magically. It's just like they get their paycheck every 2 weeks, and they don't understand all the processes that go on behind that. So they don't become aware of any problem really until it's too late, until they get a letter from the Internal Revenue Service that says, you deposit and there's a $5,000 penalty, or you didn't file this return on time and there's a $50,000 penalty. Well, if we were to begin to implement a program and build a tax team on campus, we could increase the tax compliance all across campus. In all three of my previous business, I was an advocate of tax compliance. Found that I could not administer a tax program within the confines of my office. So I was out talking to the various departments. Many of them are just not aware. And it was an awareness campaign and an advocacy campaign to enlist assistance. So, there are things that you can do. You can create a tax team across campus with certain key individuals. You can create a tax calendar of when things are due to be filed or paid to the IRS or to the state government, along with the name of a responsible person. And then, like any policy or procedure, they have to understand that trust is not a control. In other words, I just trust that this will be done is an insufficient control. I've seen instances where people were off sick and a deposit wasn't made on time, for instance, resulting in a $50,000 penalty for it being 1 day late. So there were no backup procedures. If so-and-so's not here, somebody else must do this. So to create all these things, I also find that there's a general lack of tax-related policies that are written on campus. And I've developed a list of 15 tax-related policies that I think every university should have in place. All of these are designed to reach that sixth step of the six-step program. And that I just call it's tax nirvana. It's the land of awe. It's where you are feeling very much confident if you were to go into an audit situation that you will come out relatively unscathed, or it will be a no change audit, which is the absolute best kind of audit. It just means you're doing everything correctly and timely. It's sort of like herding cats across campus. Some of them are very large. One school has 1,500 acres, and then they have 4 regional campuses throughout the state. There are systems like in Texas that has the Texas Higher Education System. There are 2 systems. One of them has 18 campuses that are spread out across all of the state of Texas. So it's very hard to monitor what's going on campuses that might be 200 miles away. So, I hope to put that all in a framework for them and to radically change their thinking to begin to address this, because, it's 15% of your total budget. I use the $100 million figure, and there are several schools that have budgets far, far in excess of that. So you can see the dollar amount. One thing that we definitely want to avoid is not only the financial risk of an audit, but there are also reputational risks to the university. Typically, audits may make the front page of the newspaper, for instance. And if they do, it creates a lack of trust on the part of donors, people who might contribute money. There have been instances of abuse that have driven enrollment applications down at a university. Higher ed is absolutely fascinating. Large industry across the United States. One of the fastest growing segments of that particular higher education industry is the community college, the 2-year schools. There are 2-year schools that where you can go and get an associate's degree that literally have 125,000 students enrolled in their programs. So that's the fastest growing segment is community college. A lot of students are going community college now to ease their way into a 4-year degree for purposes of cost and also for purposes of ease of taking classes. More classes are offered in the evenings or on the weekends than typically offered at a 4-year institution. But it's one of the fastest growing segments, and the problem or the issue of tax compliance is even more pronounced at the community college level. There, the people in the business and finance departments oftentimes wear several different hats. And the community colleges across the United States are, percentage-wise, are the largest group of institutions that do not have a designated tax manager. So I also offer, in that case, I will offer a tax advisory services agreement where I become their virtual tax manager for them, and I'm available to them on call, at any time at all.
Just a few quick questions because we've got less than 2 minutes left. You answered my first question in terms of many colleges don't have a designated tax person on staff. Who is your primary interface at the colleges and universities?
Vice President of Business and Finance.
Okay.
That's to whom all these various departments report that have tax obligations. So those departments are responsible for the entire campus. Accounts payable is responsible for paying all the bills for all the departments. Obviously, payroll is responsible for getting paychecks out to everybody in all the departments. So people in business finance department, they have a campus-wide perspective, and it's really the only way tax can be addressed.
Okay. Now, the second question, and I'm going to hit you with these really quickly because we have to wrap it up. The second question is, this is a huge job for one individual. Do you have a team of individuals that you leverage to go into different universities, or how does that work?
If I get involved in a consulting project, it becomes then one person. I do people that I rely upon and use as independent contractors to assist me. But typically work one-on-one with a college or a university to establish their programs, to get their policies in order, to get their procedures in order. Typically, right now it's me.
Okay. Now, if the listeners would like to contact you and to find out more about your services and how you could help them with their taxes at the university level or the community college level, how can they get in contact with you?
It's real simple. The email address is steve@thetaxtranslator.com. That's my email address. They can review my webpage, which is thetaxtranslator.com as well. I'm also available on LinkedIn. So various ways to contact me. They can call me on the phone if they wish at area code 732-853-4721. I'm always happy to talk tax. I do provide a lot of, if they have a simple question that they just want an answer to, I provide that for a free service across the nation. People just send me a question. I love it. I'm up till midnight just answering these questions and helping people out. They can also subscribe to my electronic newsletter, Tax Updates for Colleges and Universities. It's absolutely free. It comes out about once a month or so and is just filled with tax information and knowledge, things that they have to do to prepare their tax situation.
Okay.
So that's 3 ways they can get in touch with me.
Okay, excellent. Well, I really appreciate you coming on the show. That was very fascinating tax information that you shared, Steve, and myself and the listeners, we really appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.